The latest episode of From wasn't exactly the action-packed thrill ride some of us were hoping for, but it still delivered in a really interesting way. Even though we didn't get a ton of action, the episode dropped enough mysterious clues to keep us guessing and theorizing, so let's dive into those question marks and see what we can figure out. Just like the previous seasons, From Season 3 is packed with mystery and plenty of unanswered questions. Will Tabitha actually manage to save the others? Is she related to Victor? And what's up with Jim's phone calls? We've all been wondering, like the residents themselves, if this town is some kind of nightmare or maybe even a simulation from the very beginning. But thanks to Tabitha, it seems like we're about to get some answers. It feels like every episode just adds more layers to the puzzle. Now, every single one of these mysteries are crucial, I know that. But there is one particular thing I'm curious about, and it's none other than Fatima's pregnancy. In the first two episodes of Season 3, we see Fatima going through a rough time. She's pregnant, but it's definitely not the joyous experience you'd expect. Instead, she's really sick and it's just too much given the circumstances. You can tell this pregnancy is weighing heavy on her, both physically and emotionally. It's far from the sweet, happy moment we hoped for Fatima, but you know what? That's not all. This is not just a tough pregnancy, there's definitely more to that, I'm sure of it. This is Fromville after all, almost nothing good ever happens. Her being pregnant, even though she was sure that she was infertile, is a bit suspicious if you ask me. In episode 2, Ellis, being the concerned husband, takes Fatima to Christy to check on her since she hasn't eaten for 4 days, and to make things worse, she just lost a tooth. Well, since Christy was busy with Kenny, Marielle offers her help and eventually says that everything's fine. Well, it's clear something isn't right. When Ellis and Fatima get back home, she sends him away to check on Boyd, saying she needs to rest and there's nothing Ellis can do. But then things get weird. Fatima can't get into the house because the door is locked. That's a huge red flag because do you remember who else can get into the houses without an invitation? The monsters. Now, you may say that maybe someone really locked the door and that's fine, but after that, she sees another woman living in the community house and well, she has no trouble going in, so please explain to me why Fatima couldn't get in because I really don't feel good about this. To me, it seems like Fatima in that situation followed the monster rules. She can be inside the house but cannot go back in unless someone lets her in. I realized she didn't open the clinic door herself either. Ellis opened the door for her. I'll talk more about the implications of this in a minute. To make things even worse, we see her drooling over rotten plants as if they were the most delicious food on earth. Like, look at her, eating the most disgusting thing with such an appetite. It's pretty disturbing, especially since she's been saying that even the smell of food makes her sick and she hasn't been able to eat anything at all. So what's going on here? Well, there are a few theories that are worth the discussion. Like some people say that she's turning into a monster and in time she will eventually develop a taste for human flesh. If this is true, and I hope not, that would cause some serious chaos in town. The only thing these people could rely on is each other. Without that sense of security, everything could quickly descend into pure chaos, making survival even harder than it already is. Plus, I'm not sure if those monsters really want to eat people. To me, it's not about eating them, it's about torture and playing games, that's it. So while this theory is not that bad, I can't bring myself to believe it. Another theory that's been buzzing around is the idea that Fatima is pregnant with a monster baby. This actually makes way more sense considering that the baby is a part of her existence. It could explain her appetite for rotten food and why she can't open the door. A fan theory I've seen on Reddit suggests that the place knows she's pregnant, and they knew that a monster baby would need rotten food, and that's why the place intentionally rotted those vegetables in the first place. I believe this might be just true. Another fan believes that Fatima becoming pregnant so soon after they killed one of the monsters hints at the possibility that she's growing a replacement for it. Now, both theories are insane and I think they are both possible. This town always manages to preserve its entirety, remaining superior to the settlers and their abilities to fight back. No matter how hard the newcomers try to resist or defend themselves, the town seems to have a way of maintaining control and holding on to its secrets. So when they managed to kill one of the monsters, the place needed a replacement, therefore the pregnancy. There are also fans who think Fatima is one of the least interesting characters in From. There's especially a group that believes she's holding back Ellis from his potential as a character. That's why if one of the main characters dies, they think it should be Fatima as a result of this weird pregnancy she has. Giving birth to a monster will most likely kill her, and Ellis could have a more interesting story arc, especially with Boyd. What do you think about that? But wait until you hear the next theory, because it makes sense too. This one isn't related to Fatima or her pregnancy, but it's definitely worth considering. In episode 2, Kenny discovers a bunch of vegetables growing near a lake, which could potentially solve the food shortage problem the town has been facing. Some fans believe that they were able to find it because Mrs. Lou was sacrificed for the town. To back up this theory, fans believe that's exactly why Boyd was able to find the farm animals, because he killed his wife. I believe that's such a good theory, but I'm on the fence here because this town has seen lots of death and murder and things didn't go any better, right? Do you think it's possible, or should we look for another explanation? Another theory for Kenny's much needed discovery is this. Sarah mentioned earlier that this place feeds on fears, which we all know is true. But Boyd's wife pointed out that it also feeds on hopes as well. Right before dying, Mrs. Lou asked Boyd to take good care of Kenny, and I believe she trusted him to keep his promise. So maybe, just maybe, her death and hope that everything would be better made this possible, but what do you think? Could this be the case or not? If these people are manifesting everything that happened to them, does that mean they can just manifest good things to survive and eventually get out of this eerie town? It would be so funny if everything was solved with good vibes and manifestation. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Let's discuss every single theory. After that, you can watch this video next.